Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part 3 in a 5-part series of webinars specifically designed for new members or people that are just starting to use BNI Connect for the very first time. We kind of break BNI Connect down into little parts of about a half hour a piece in order to get you through the whole system without completely and totally overwhelming you with technology. Today's webinar, we're going to be talking about connecting with other members. If you were here for our first webinar a couple of days ago, I mentioned that there's kind of like 3 different parts to BNI Connect. We have our accounting piece of it where we're keeping track of all the stuff that's happening in the chapters and all the memberships and all of that. Then we have the web piece of it where we push out all these public websites that have people's information on them. Now the third part of this is that we have our own kind of private, only to BNI members, like LinkedIn style connection system where we can actually look up the profiles of any member in the entire BNI community and connect with them, add them to kind of our own personal address book, communicate with them, and even have discussions via the discussion groups in BNI Connect. So that's what I'm going to talk about today is how can we really dive deeper into this global community in order to see who else is out there. So part 4 in our series will continue next week. On Tuesday, we'll talk about member tools and reports where we dive a little bit deeper into BNI Connect. And we're going to look at some of the things behind the scenes, some statistical reports and things like the visitor invitation. And then next Wednesday, we'll close out this whole series of member webinars with the inviting and registering visitors. All right, so a couple more quick housekeeping things as if this is your first webinar. That this is a live webinar. So if you're here on Thursday, January 12th, 2017, you are participating in an interactive live session. So that means that if you have any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or compliments as we're going through, please do go ahead and blurt them out. The way you do that is by typing them into the questions panel in BNI Connect. They'll pop up on my screen and I will be able to see those come through and answer them as we're going along. We also record all of these webinars. So if you are here on a recording, thank you for listening to the recording. You can interact with us by sending an email to support@bniconnect.com and we will be happy to answer your questions. If you're looking for the recordings afterwards, if you'd like to share these with your chapter, with other members, or you just want to go back and review it, you can find it in 2 places. First of all is the support site. So if you click on the question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, that will take you over to the support site. And on the support site, you will find a link that says live and recorded webinars. Pretty soon I will have this week's versions of the webinars uploaded. And then they continue to be uploaded as they happen. You can also find them on our YouTube channel. We have a whole YouTube channel with hundreds of these webinars and even shorter 3-minute videos. They're all up at youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's BNI Connect Global, youtube.com. So, let's talk about this topic today, which is connecting with other members. So here's what it's all about. We have this database of BNI Connect, and really we can reach out to other members around the world. Now, personally, I use this all the time. And the reason that I use it all the time is I have a business here. I'm a member here in Rhode Island. I own a computer company, and we have clients, for example, that have businesses in other states. So, for example, I have one client here in Rhode Island that we manage their systems here, and they also have a place in Washington, D.C., and another place down in Florida. So we obviously manage those other places remotely because we're just a small business here in Rhode Island. That works about 90% of the time. However, about a month ago, when their Florida office needed to pack up and move across the parking lot to a different building in their complex, they had a couple of choices. Do they hire us and fly us down there at great expense to move a couple of computers across the parking lot and plug everything back in. It's several $1,000s just to do a very small job. Or what I suggested and what we ended up doing was I got onto BNI Connect and I searched for computer guys in Florida. Called one of them up and said, hey, listen, I'm a BNI member up in Rhode Island. I have a job that I'd like to refer to you. Would you be willing to help me out and do this office move for me? He said yes. Everything worked out. We were both happy, and so was the client. So you can do things like that for, if you have a grandmother or an uncle or a brother or anybody else scattered around the world or the United States, and they're complaining that their back hurts and they need a chiropractor. Why not use BNI for that? We have this trusted system built for us that, we have these membership committees, and we're making sure that all these members around the world are valid and good at what they do. So I would trust a BNI member over just finding somebody on Craigslist or finding somebody on Google, because you can put anything you want up on a website, but we have real life accountability in BNI. So now that said, in order to make sure that when people find you on BNI Connect, you really, really need to make sure that your profile is filled out. Now, I went over this in detail on Tuesday, but very, very quickly, I'm going to give you the 45-second Reader's Digest review. If you haven't filled out your profile yet, from your home page, click on Update Profile, or from any page, click on Options, My Account. Both of those links will take you into the back end of your profile. All you have to do is go through these tabs and fill them out. That's the Reader's Digest version. Go through any place where you see some empty space, fill that out. Very important. Make sure you have a profile image. Make sure you have a company logo. That will be the first credibility builder right there. People like to see a face smiling back at them when they find somebody's profile. The other really important part is make sure that you have your contact information filled out. And then on the Settings tab, I highly recommend that you make sure that you are showing your contact details to everyone. All right, you want to make sure that you're showing your contact details to everyone. The reason for that is that when somebody finds your profile, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a minute, if somebody finds your profile and you're not sharing your phone number with everybody, then they have to wait to send you a connection request. They have to wait for you to accept that connection request, and then you'll start sharing their phone number, right? Which means that, most people, when they're searching for somebody in the system in order to, refer business to them or use them, they're not going to wait a day or 2 days or a week or sometimes never for you to log into BNI Connect and accept that connection request. So I highly recommend, maybe you don't want to share your email right away. That's fine. But I highly recommend that you share your contact details with everybody. All right, of course, if you make changes, click Update. And when you have time, also make sure that you fill out your bio. So fill out your bio and make sure that that's all up to date as well. All right, now let me go back to the home page. So this networking aspect of BNI Connect, it's all going to be on the My Network page. So here on the left-hand side, we have My BNI Business. So this is all my stats and being able to, submit my weekly slips and everything. Over here on the left, you'll also see My Network, and you see it's a little kind of like a slider here, so I can go back and forth between these different home pages. So I have the My Network, and this is really where all of the networking functionality is located. So we have these 6 different tiles here on this page. First one is connections. So these are all the people that you're connected with in BNI. Very similar to being connected to somebody in LinkedIn. And what the connections are your private kind of your private BNI address book. And you have kind of a collection of everybody's profile. Now, you have access to every active member's profile and what they're sharing from it just by searching for them. So the idea behind this isn't to just collect as many profiles as you can and stick them into your connections. It's really to be the people that you have actually started some type of a networking relationship with. Now, you'll automatically be connected to all of the people in your chapter. So as people come and join your chapter, you'll be connected to them. As they leave your chapter, you'll be disconnected from them. So those ones are managed automatically, but you can reach out and connect with anybody else in BNI as well. So that's the connections. I'm going to show you how that works in just a minute. The next thing is the groups. The groups are ways that we can discuss things with other BNI members. There are hundreds of conversations that are actively going on every single day. Hundreds of conversations, all sorts of them, things, industry-related conversations, BNI-related conversations, all sorts of things. And that's really one of the best ways to start to develop relationships. I mean, it's one thing to go out and kind of randomly connect with people, but once you start these discussions with people, that's when you really know, you get to know people by being in these groups. So great way to do that is groups. I'll show you a little bit more about that later. There's also a document library. This document library here on the right-hand side, that's for regionally specific documents. So, my region here in Rhode Island, that's the BNI Rhode Island region, that's documents that my executive director here wants to share with other members here in the region. So usually it's going to be things like a customized visitor sign-in sheet, or maybe it's going to be, we use the member traffic lights, and that's reports that are valid only for my region here. So yours is not going to be the same list of documents that mine has. It's going to be the ones that your executive director or regional team is sharing. So going down to the bottom row, we have testimonials. Now testimonials are going to be the testimonies that you leave for other people and that other people leave for you. So you can, anybody that you're connected with, they can leave you a testimonial, or you can leave them a testimonial. Say nice things about people. Really, it's giving the gift of credibility. You're helping to build up people's credibility when you give them a testimonial. The next section here is the events section, and the events, those are all your regional events. So things like the Member Success Program. Somebody asked yesterday if we should still be taking the Member Success Program even though we're doing these trainings online, and the answer to that is 100% absolutely yes, yes, yes. The Member Success Program is an awesome way to get a jump start on BNI. Check out your events, click on the More button here, and it'll show you when the next Member Success Program is. That's a list view of all the events. You can also see a calendar view of the events by going to your regional website in the upper right-hand corner. And then the final section here is the messages. There is an internal messaging system in BNI Connect, and a lot of people use this as a quote-unquote email my chapter. It is not meant to be an email your chapter. It is all of your connections. The thing is that with the internal messaging system, it stays internal. So that's the thing about it, is that if you're trying to get an important message out to your chapter, I'll show you a function in Tuesday's webinar, the Member Tools and Reports, that actually sends a real email to your chapter as opposed to just an internal message. So let's take a look at these connections. So if I go to connections, we'll see all the people that I'm connected to. If I can go to connections and then click on manage. Of course, I can always go, like let's say I'm somewhere else in the system, I'm back on the home page, or I'm in a report or something like that. I can always go to network connections up here at the top. So this network kind of drop down, fold down list will have all of the other networking things in there as well. So if I go to network connections, this lists all the people that I'm connected to. Now, some of them are, people that are in my chapter, and some of them are people that I've met over the years. I've been in BNI 15 years now, so I've met quite a few people. So some of them, if I want to click on somebody like Anna here, Anna Shah from the United Arab Emirates, she is one of the national directors there. I can see her profile, a shorter version of her profile here. I can see her email and her website and give her a phone call if I needed to, or go check out her Facebook page. I could also send her a message, one of those internal messages. I could ask her for a testimonial, give her to a testimonial, go view her full profile, or remove her from my connections. Now, keep in mind a couple of things. You can only remove the connections, as I said, for people outside of your chapter. For people that are in your chapter, let me see if I can find somebody here in my chapter. So Brad Asher here, he is a member of my chapter. He does the insurance, the commercial insurance in my chapter. So I can see all his contact information. Now you notice I can still send him a message, ask him, give him a testimonial, view his profile, but the delete from my connections is not there. So those are managed by the system. Now if you want to add somebody to your connections, there's a couple of ways to do that. Just click on Add Connection up here in the Connections tab. I could also just click this magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner from any screen in the system. And this allows us to search the BNI directory. So the easiest thing to do is if you know somebody's name, just search by their name. So I recognize a lot of you guys from being on the webinar for the last couple of days. Thank you guys so much for coming back a second or a third time to listen to the next segment. Greatly appreciate you giving the time to this and learning more about it. One of those people that I recognize from every single webinar so far is Boyd Campbell. So let's do a search for Boyd and check out his profile and see if we can get connected to him. So I'm going to do a search for Boyd Campbell, and we can see there's a couple of direct hits here. Now notice this is it's a multi-word search here. It came back with one. Now you might be wondering why Sandy Palvord also showed up, and it's because we got a hit here from her company name being Boyd's Funeral Service, and then her city being Campbell River. But I believe the Boyd Campbell that I'm looking for is this top one here from Chattanooga Business Builders, from Tetra Cloud Solutions in Chattanooga. So if I want to check out his profile, I can click on his name. Notice it does open up in a new window. So here we have a whole new tab that opened up so I don't lose my search results back there. And we can see that he's got a great job. I know you're a brand new member, Boyd, so good job getting your profile all filled out and getting a picture up there, getting your company name up there, all your social media links. So if I wanted to go and check out his his website or anything like that, I could do so. I could also, he's the vice president of his chapter. That's great. Can also do things like check out his games profile. I can see the other people that he's connected to. Now keep in mind, you can also click through to anybody's connections as well. So if you see somebody on that you trust somebody, you can go to a second level connection. I can go click on, for example, Kimberly's profile, and go check out Kimberly's profile. So, and with BNI Connect, unlike LinkedIn, where they limit you to 2 levels of connections, you could keep diving deep into these connections as far as you want to go. All right, I can also see if anybody's given him testimonials or if he's uploaded any pictures to his gallery or groups that he's participating in, as well as the training history. But what I could also do is, let's say that I wanted to have a connection with Boyd. What I could do is just click on Add Boyd to my connections. And what that does is that will send him a message. So I could say, hi, Boyd. Thank you so much for being a good sport on the webinar today. Smiley face. I would like to add you to my connections, and I can then submit that. And now Boyd will get a request saying, hey, Jeremy Walsh wants to connect with you, and he will decide whether or not he wants to connect with me. So that's how I can close that. Now, you aren't limited to only searching by name. You can search by a whole list of different criteria. So, I mean, you can search for, I think I used plumbers in Pittsburgh the other day, or you can search for a massage therapist in Arkansas, right? So this will allow you to get those results. So I can see that there's about 5 different massage therapists in Arkansas. And again, I could click through their profiles, and if they have their name and their profile and their information shared, I could give them a call. That is also why it's very important to make sure that you have your keywords filled out, because a lot of times that will greatly help the results of your search. Now there's also an advanced search here. So, For example, with Boyd, you know that it came back with another example that wasn't the Boyd Campbell that we were looking for. Now, these are not the droids you're looking for. So I could also make sure I'm searching against the right things by using Boyd Campbell and making sure that's in the first name and last name. That way it won't come up with any false positives. So this is especially helpful if you have a really, really common name, like a John Smith or something like that, to make sure that it comes up with the right thing. And that way this should only come back with one match for exact matches of a first and last name of Boyd Campbell. It did come back with other matches as well, because we had some people with just a first name of Boyd and just a last name of Campbell. So a great way to really narrow those searches down. And again, we have 210,000 members globally in BNI Connect. So you have plenty of opportunity to really search for and connect with other members around the globe. So I'm going to go back to my connections by going to network connections, because the next thing that you do have to do is, as people are connecting with you, you do have to accept those connections. The connections are an opt-in interface. So people will send you those connection requests. If you have your email notifications turned on, you will get an email notification when you have one. If you don't have those turned on yet, then you do still need to go into received requests. And you can see I have about 9 requests here. So I could click on the various requests and go through them individually and choose accept or ignore or reject. That'll bring me back to my list. I could also check to see if, for example, I could click on Mark's smiling picture here. That will take me over to his profile, so I can see if it's somebody that want to check to make sure that they're legitimate and check their profile out before I connect with them. I could do that. And of course I could click read message to see if he sent me a custom message besides just the regular message. I'm going to go ahead and accept this one as well. Now, if you have multiple connections like I do, you can also just click select all and click on connect to selected, and that will just collect all of them and connect to all of them at once. And in just a second, you can see my received requests has now gone to 0, and my all connections has gone up to 563. So while we're on the topic, let's talk about testimonials real quick. As I said, you can give people that you're connected to testimonials. Now, very important, you can only give them one testimonial, so make it a good one. You can only give people one testimonial. So if I wanted to give somebody a testimonial, this is done through the connections. So I would go and, for example, click on the person's name. So we have Amber here from Connecticut, and she does awesome headshots. So if I wanted to give her a testimonial about those headshots, I would click on Give Amber a Testimonial. It's a really very, very basic form. All you need to do is to type in your testimonial. Amber takes great photos. Obviously you want to be a little bit more prolific than that, but it's still the same. You're just going to type those in, and what happens is that will then show up on Amber's profile here in BNI Connect. It does not show up on the public sites, only on the inside of BNI Connect. Now, if you want to go review your testimonials, you can just toggle right over to the testimonials from your connections. Of course, if you wanted to, you could also go to Network Testimonials, or if I'm back on the home screen, under Testimonials, click on Manage. That all takes you to the same place. Here I can take a look at the testimonials I've received. For example, I could check out this testimonial from Dawn. I could then choose whether I want to display it or not on my profile. And if I wanted to, I could also delete it. Now, as I said before, you can only give one testimonial per person. So if somebody wants to give you a different or a better testimonial, you do have to go in and delete it first, and that will allow them to create another one for you. You can also check out the testimonials you've given to people. And you can also check out any testimonial requests. So if somebody has sent you a testimonial request, you can go in and respond to that. Now, when it comes to give, ignore, and reject, by the way, you can go ahead and give that testimonial. Click give and type it out and give that testimonial. Reject it will send them a message and allow them to request another one. If you choose ignore, keep in mind that they will never be able to ask you for a testimonial again. It will essentially disable forever the testimonial option for that person. So be careful with that ignore button. All right, we're almost at the bottom of the hour. There's just one last thing I want to show you, and that is the groups. And these groups are really the way that we can really start to build relationships around the world. Now, the connections, those are great. They allow you to get in touch with people, and they put them in your address book. But really, it's these groups that allow us to kind of build that community around the world. And if I click on Manage under Groups, or of course, I can go to Network Groups in the upper left-hand corner, Network Groups, I can go there as well. We can see that right now there are 455 active groups in BNI Connect. That's a lot of groups. And here's the thing about the groups in BNI Connect. We have a very strict policy that they have to have activity at least once every 90 days. Otherwise, we flat out delete them. So if a group, they lose interest or nobody wants to participate anymore, we send a warning after 90 days and say, hey guys, we haven't heard anything from you in a while. If you want to keep this group active, please submit a comment. We'll send them a second warning in another week or two, and then if they still haven't responded, we will remove that group from BNI Connect. So it keeps the content fresh. It makes sure people are having discussions and they're not just a bunch of old, dead articles up there. Now, some of them have been going for quite some time. I mean, look at this one here. This one's just for the health and wellness sphere, and it was created by David Wright in 2011, 2/20/2011. He started that group up pretty much the month we launched BNI Connect. That's how long he's been running this particular group. Now, there's new ones as well. I mean, we have one here, Brazil Business Opportunities. Yes, we have members in Brazil. Yes, they're looking to connect with people worldwide in order to, build business in Brazil. So, I mean, this one has 900 participants and 900 posts with 349 topics. I mean, that is a, very active group. We have one for boat dealers and brokerages and website developers. I mean, there's so many topics. You can just go through the pages here, one by one if you want to. There's about 5 topics per page. So, about 100 pages later or so, you'll get through all of the different groups. You can also do a search, though, if you want to, by clicking on the magnifying glass and just type in a keyword or creator. For example, Dr. Meisner has a couple of groups on here that he actually personally administers. So if I do a search for Meisner, we can see that there is this one's actually a private group. You can have hidden groups as well. But we have a group, Why BNI, where he likes to put a lot of posts about upcoming webinars that he's done or links to podcasts and things like that. It gets people to tell stories about BNI through there. There's also a From the Founder group, which is a way to talk to other people. Now, this From the Founder group, by the way, 4,000 participants. So he even has a Introduce Yourself section where you can go in and introduce yourself to the group. That's your opportunity to say, hi, my name's Boyd Campbell, and I'm from Chattanooga, and I do IT services, and I'm looking to connect with people that do this. 4,000 people will get a notification about that and have your introduction. So it's a great way to really, again, connect with other people. So, for example, this the Business Voices group done by Beth Meisner, his wife. Another way that this is really useful is as you're having these conversations with people. So we have a new year here where she announced some of the new team. People are doing posts. We can see their profile. I can even click through to the person's profile in BNI Connect and connect with them there as well. So, I mean, there's just so many levels of connectivity in here that you can connect with the people from the group. And really, this is where you start to build credibility with them and get to know them better. Now, you can also, if I go back to the groups interface, you can also create up to 7 of your own groups. Now, I don't know if you really want to actually create 7 of them. That is a lot to maintain. But you can create 1 or 2 if you want to start a discussion. Just click on Add Group and fill out the details of that group. The most important thing, though, is you go in there and you need to go in and start the conversation. If you don't have that conversation going, you don't keep that conversation up, then that group will likely kind of sputter out. So, all right, so we are at the bottom of the hour, so I want to be very respectful of everybody's time, especially you guys that have come and spent some time with me 3 days in a row now. Thank you so very much. I do want to open this up for any questions. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, criticisms, please put them into the questions panel now, and I'll see them pop up on the screen, and I can address those. Just a reminder, this is being recorded. You will be able to find it on both the support site. Now, you get to the support site, if you haven't been there yet, you get there by clicking on this question mark. You see this question mark in the upper right-hand corner, right under Regional Website and Options, there's a question mark. Click on that. That will take you over to the support site. You can do a search for various topics, but right here, live and recorded webinars. This will give you all the recordings as well as the upcoming webinars. A good referral from me is to please let your chapter members know about these webinars. Spread the word. A good referral is to have somebody sign up for one of these webinars. Now, our very next webinar, if you want to take a deep dive into BNI Connect, is going to be on Tuesday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific. I think it's 8 o'clock over in the UK. And I'd love to see you then. All right, so Jenna, well, Boyd says he just finished creating a Chattanooga group. So if anybody's in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, please go search for and join Chad's group. Jenna says, how do I start the search for other members? So the easiest way to do that, from any screen in BNI Connect, click on this magnifying glass up here in the upper right-hand corner. Any screen, click on that magnifying glass. And there's your search from the BNI directory. You can either use this search or click the advanced search if you want to get more granular about what you're searching for. Now, by the way, sometimes this can be a very hefty search. I mean, trying to narrow down 200,000 members. One thing that I have found is sometimes it's easier to search on the public regional sites. So, for example, if I was looking for somebody like just in the United States, I could use the BNI America site, then come back here and search by the person's name. So that's one kind of sideways advanced strategy. But usually, you know, especially if you know the person's name. By the way, another little hint here. So let's say that you are in Mary Kay. I don't know what you do, Jenna, but let's say that you work for one of the bigger organizations. Maybe you're a financial advisor with Edward Jones or something like that. You can search also by email address strings, and that's something a lot of people don't know. So I could actually do, for example, at marykay.com and find members around the world that are in Mary Kay based on their at marykay.com email address. Now, there is a limit of 250 entries, by the way, but looks like there's about 192 members in BNI that have a at marykay.com email address. You know, and again, let's say, you know, most Edward Jones advisors, edwardjones.com. Oops, it would help if I spelt Edward correctly. So here's all the people. There's over 250 members that are in Edward Jones. So again, great way to really connect with other people within your industry, especially around the world. So I hope that helps, Jenna. All right, do we have any other questions? All right, if there's no additional questions, again, thank you guys so much for being here today. I hope to see you on a future webinar. In the meantime, Happy connecting.